Good afternoon, viewers and listeners out there. We've got another fascinating afternoon with the British Business Podcast series. This afternoon, I'm delighted to welcome Tiernan Dixon, founder of SuperBeam and serial entrepreneur, and I'd like to dive straight in. So welcome, Tiernan.
Thanks for having me.
What is it all about? What's SuperBeam?
SuperBeam, we're a creative and brand engagement agency focused specifically within construction and manufacturing. We initially started as a holistic B2B organisation to organisation brand engagement agency, but looking at where we're best poised and where our experience is and where needs the most love and attention at the minute, we've really niched down into construction, helping construction clients win new work, but most importantly build strong EVPs, employee value propositions. You know, the single biggest problem facing the industry today is attracting the next generation of talent and enticing them and learning to speak their language. So we help construction brands do that and engage the next generation of talent.
Wow. When did that all start?
So we're a very relatively new startup now. So we're in month 4 at the minute. We were part of an agency before where we've been working together for the last few years. I separated from my business partner in May 2022 and started SuperBeam. The team came along. We've got fantastic clients, fantastically young creative team, and we're looking really good. The construction, it's not a hard sell. I don't have to sell what we do. You know, it's all about delivering thoughtful, thought-provoking creative work that can really work to attract that next generation of talent. So it's been too comfortable the first 4 months for a startup. I should have had more sleepless nights, but I'm very blessed to have an amazing team around me and have some amazing clients. But month 4, so we're still very much in our infancy. But
That age, 28, classic time to start a new business. I remember me starting my own business at 28 years old. Can you take me back before then? Has there been a bit of a journey in terms of you and how you got into having your own business at 28?
Yeah, there's definitely been a journey. There's podcast material and there's not podcast material. I studied brands and marketing at university over in Cardiff. I've loved it. I used to geek out and watch all the Super Bowl halftime adverts on YouTube. Was like my favorite thing that I could watch. I used to love watching adverts when I was watching telly when I was young. I was just fascinated by it. Some form of commercial escapism, these like semi-material digital worlds that these brands can create was always quite fascinating to me. So it was inevitable that I went on and studied brand and studied marketing. I worked as a marketing manager for a company for 3 years.
What sort of sector?
In construction.
Okay.
Construction services.
You've always been in construction?
Yeah. So, before I went to university, I was mixing cement on the floor. Like I've been labouring construction to get cash while I was at uni. And before I went, I've grown up in the London Irish construction world. So that's why it's an industry that I have, while I'm no expert by any means, I have some insight into the inner workings. And the whole time I was working with these construction companies but studying brand, I could just see these gaping opportunities and this lack of like distinct narrative. And I honestly, I don't just say this because I think it's the right thing to say. I think construction is the best industry in the world. Wow. I think it is fantastic. The opportunities it has to give young people is like second to none. So the two were kind of inevitably married up. I went and worked at another agency for 2 years. I was made director of the agency.
What type of agency?
Communication, the same thing, branding agency.
Yep.
Spent 2 years there, and then May 2022, the day of my 28th birthday, incorporated SuperBeam agency. So I never forget the gateway ID for HMRC. It's nice and easy.
So, I'll press you on that later. So was it literally you worked for an organisation and the very next day it was your organisation? Yeah.
So I'd been wanting to run this by myself. I have some other businesses. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always started new things, and it was fantastic to work in a bigger agency and kind of see the inner workings. But my inner desire was always to run my own agency, and I was building more confidence. I was building contacts, building a fantastic team to deliver the work that we do. And you know, this year it was inevitable. The time was right. The clouds were aligned. So took the risk, and 4 months later, it's just the best decision I've ever made. You know, I feel very empowered to be able to go out there and make promises to my client that I know that we can deliver on as an agency, and I know I can attract and recruit the best creative videographers, designers, web designers in London, and take them into the construction world and go, look at this, look at all this potential. It's like a bit of a blank canvas at the minute, and it's like anyone. Right, so I've got like videographers who work for my team, and some of them worked on like the last Adidas Stan Smith commercial. I'm like, yeah, anyone can make an Adidas trainer look cool, right? It's not that hard a thing to do. Make this reinforced concrete frame contractor look cool, and that's a real creative challenge. And like the guys are relishing it at the minute. So yeah, it's been good. It's been a fantastic journey, and it's great because to be invited onto podcasts like this and be able to come and like share the message. People want to hear it because people go, I say the words construction and TikTok in the same sentence, and people are like, whoa.
Like an oxymoron.
Yeah. Like an oxymoron. Like I sometimes say they say, what do you do? And I say, I get like builders to use TikTok. And they're like, what are you on about? But that's part of the mission. It's part of it. Yeah.
Can you drill down a bit on that? Because I know people out there are going to go, what is he talking about? Construction, TikTok? What do you mean?
Yeah, right. So it's kind of like a bit of a throwaway comment, but really when you drill down into that, we, as I mentioned before, the biggest component, the largest component of our work, and where we add the most value and where the most value is needed by construction clients, is building EVPs, employee value propositions. It's attracting and enticing the next generation of talent to fulfill roles in apprenticeships, white collar, blue collar, the full works in construction. Now, a big part of this is a communication problem. Construction has relied on a nice bit of web, you know, maybe a little post if we win a new job, which is great for stakeholders like suppliers, love seeing their clients win new work, but it's not enticing the next generation of talent. So we have to learn to start speaking the language of the next generation and doing it on the platforms that they live their lives on. And that's Instagram, that's YouTube, that's TikTok. I'm not using Snapchat. No builder yet has wanted to use Snapchat. I'm not going to push them on that.
Sure.
Facebook and LinkedIn. And I use the analogy of like different floors of a hotel. I think construction at the minute is on like the third floor of a hotel, and they're running about and trying to find this talent and speak to people, but all the talent's up on the fifth floor. And it's like, unless we're in the same place as them, speaking their language on the platforms they live their lives on, then we're obviously going to fall short. You know, these guys, I say these guys, I'm referring to young millennials and Generation Z. So kind of anyone kind of my age and younger.
Okay.
And these guys, like, they speak to their GPs on their phones. They profess their love for one another on their phones, you know, through emojis and whatnot. They sign contracts on their phones. They go to they book university viewings in place. Of course, they're looking for careers on their phones. And if construction isn't there, it's not in the salience landscape or like the digital landscape of these guys, then you can see, I don't even to see it, you can see the disparity there between like the supply and demand. So we help construction companies really hone that message through these variety of social media platforms. Yeah.
So, for example, I don't know whether you're able to share some of the stuff, and obviously clients are confidential, of course. Yeah. But some of the clients that you've got right now, you're having these conversations and you're taking them through. You're lacking in these areas, and this is the prize. Yeah. Those are the types of conversations, and you're winning work from these people because you are innovative, fresh. You have the vision of what it is. I met you for 5 minutes earlier, and I was in. I was all in after 5 minutes of what you were saying. So I know our listeners and viewers will be listening to this afternoon, thinking, "Wow, I'm already getting excited about this." Yeah. So moving on from there, how does a company that you in the construction industry, how do they find you? What do they look for? How do they find you as a business? How can you help them, and how do you set about trying to target them so that you can start giving them some help?
Yeah, so far we haven't even had that much time to look at our own brand. Right?
Okay. You've gone straight into client work.
Straight into client work. I've phoned people up and I have a conversation, a bit like the conversation we're having now, and people say, yes, come and do the work.
Okay.
Now, a lot of our work is more holistic than that, because I know now we're talking about the EVP, specifically the employee value proposition, but a lot of our work is creating more attractive brands holistically. So it's video to showcase your potential, your abilities to your clients and your supply chain, etc. It could be to win awards, it could be financial reports. We look at the whole brand, but generally I have a conversation with a construction business owner. Their biggest worry is attracting the next generation of talent, and it's not a difficult conversation. You know, I speak to some construction clients who have got like 100 vacancies in their business and might spend £500,000 a year on recruitment fees, and they're not dressing up the front of the shop. You know, there's so much more like we can do practically and creatively to create enticing, attractive, compelling brand narratives to draw people in towards us that can save us tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds on recruitment fees. So like the sales they're going out and meeting these people is not a difficult thing. It's creating these creative, compelling narratives on behalf of the clients. That's like our work. But to answer your question, it's usually like a phone call. It's someone I've met. It's someone I've met at an event. It's someone I've been referred to. Where is your brand? Is your brand reflecting putting your best foot forward? Is it winning new work? Is it winning you talent? Is it building you trust? And often the answer to those two things is yes. And you can't blame them. Construction's a tough industry. It's cutthroat. These people haven't necessarily had the time to. A lot of these guys live like 2 weeks in advance, a fortnight in advance, and they kind of can't see much past that. So you can't blame them for not having time to refine compelling, beautiful brand narratives, because it's seen as a nice to have over there. But you know, as we discussed before the podcast started, B2B is emotion and compelling stories are just as important in the B2B landscape as they are in B2C. You know, people don't put in a different brain when they walk out the door and go to work. We're still emotional creatures who rely on storytelling and intuition and our gut to make good decisions. And that's what SuperBeam helps construction brands to create. It's help them build trust, talent, and win new work, contracts.
Wow.
Yeah,
getting goosebumps. Your compassion is it's no wonder that you're very successful in what you do. I'm interested to know, when you approach people in the industry, they already know and see, they're in that industry, that actually it's tough in their industry for a number of reasons. We had a guy, Steve Kerslake, come in from Construction Sport, and he talked about the water in the Wellingtons and boots on a Monday morning, where somebody had turned the heater off to dry the kit on the Friday afternoon. And those guys have come from a background of whatever, and they turn up on a Monday morning to have to go and work on a construction site when it's -4.
Yeah.
And they've got wet shoes and wet kit. Yeah. Coming from that place, you're talking about dealing and having to speak to owners and controllers of businesses, especially, my guess is, middle to senior management.
Yeah,
that's correct. Where you're operating. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's promoting careers, not just for the guys on the ground, but the role of what a construction worker looks like is changing by the week, by the month, by the year. And whilst it's important to target towards the guys on the ground who do the graft and do the hard work, because there's the guys who go and make the money for these construction businesses, there's a new door opening in terms of talent in construction. You look at BIM, you look at technology. And I've said this before on a podcast, but a company, SAP, big IT integration firm, they did a kind of cross-industry analysis, and they said that they identified 27 distinct industry verticals in the United Kingdom, and they said construction was second worst only to agriculture and farming in terms of its adoption of technology.
Wow, really?
Fascinating statistic. That was 5 years ago. I would love them to, I don't know if they do that research. I only leave it to see where that is now, because it's making leaps and bounds, and we are appealing to people who perhaps don't understand the opportunities and the potential there are for design work, BIM work, project management, site management. The whole industry is changing. It's not just putting on the wet boots.
What does BIM mean?
Building information modeling. It's like it's a 3D sequencing program where you can go in and you can build physical built environment assets and visualize them before you construct them. Kids at home playing Fortnite and Minecraft for for like 8 hours a day. They're basically building BIM right now.
Really?
They're sat playing games where they're building original structures with finite amount of resources in a digital landscape, and that's like not a million miles away from what the construction clients are doing now. If we just did a project for, I'll say the client for a fantastic company called PhD Access, who just did all the access works on the HMS Victory, the big old warship down in the historic dockyard in Portsmouth. Yeah. And we built the ship in Minecraft, and we took it to all these schools in the local areas, and we let the kids have a go at trying to build scaffolding. And they were, I can't believe this is construction. We get to play Minecraft and this. And God love them, they're not going to be allowed to play Minecraft for 10 hours a day at work. But it kind of paints the right picture that construction it's so much more than you think. There's so much more than you think there.
So why has it got this horrible 4 people a day committing suicide? Why does that happen? I think in an industry so valuable.
It's a really, really sorry statistic, and it's kind of a bit of a badge of shame for the industry to have to carry that burden, and all those poor, it's like 2 people a day I think take their lives, but how many hundreds of people suffer around them. And as Steve talks about, if someone dies on a building site, how many people have had to watch that, and the PTSD and the trauma they've had to witness. It's like, on the coalface, construction it's a tough industry with hard hours, but
what you're saying, and when I listen to you, I almost want to sort of get my jacket off and because that's so indicative of entrepreneurs and leaders and visionaries who are able to grow their business by taking clients with them. Because ultimately it won't be the owners of those construction businesses, because those construction businesses are going to be hundreds of millions of pounds, my guess, in the majority of cases. But they will have a team of people who are employed. They control the business, they control the purse strings. Right. What you're doing in between that is you're going to those guys and you're helping them with the vision. You're helping them with the ability to value all of the staff within that organisation. Is that right?
Yeah, but if you're talking about the value and like revenue size of a business, we're also directly helping them win new work, and we're also directly helping them create a more profitable enterprises.
Okay.
If you have, I spoke with a fantastic business this morning. They do like modular offsite fabrication. And they have like a bit of competition, none of which have got very strong brands in the specific niche within modular offsite that they work in. And I said, you're a QS, you're a project manager, you're a buyer, you're working acquisition for a big developer, and you have 4 companies who have done the PQQ, and you're there to choose from. They all give you a similar price. Now, 3 of those companies have got basic websites, basic social media presence. They don't look professional, they don't look slick. And you've got the 4th company where you log on, you see client testimonials, you see videos showcasing how they invest in social value back into their people, and product explanations and customer journeys and beautiful professionally produced media. Which one of those do you pick? It's not a tough sell. Part of building strong brands this is why I say there's like many facets to what we do. There's building the employer brands, but there's also building strong commercial B2B brands that operate as profitable organizations, and they can showcase their clients what they've done. I have a conversation with construction owners all the time. They say, we worked with this contractor and we did X, Y, Z, and they don't know. I go, let's make a video and show them exactly what you did, and then they'll know, and then they'll pay you to do it again. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. They go, this is it. It's communication, There's so much gold we have, not just in terms of building new business and showcasing what we can do and how we can collaborate and craft through excellence, etc. But the door's open here as well, and we have these fantastic opportunities we can give you, and who will you become as a person by coming and working with us. And a strong, robust brand in the 21st century needs to have all of those touch points, so it can face the employer brands, the client brands, the internal brand, and they all feel like the same thing. Like the structural, functional, the gut feeling, that's what the brand is. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. Yeah. It's that intuition. So we help companies, construction and manufacturing businesses, build that holistic, consolidated narrative that hopefully they can condense into 8 words or less, that works for the employer, for the client, for awards, communities, supply chain, the whole thing.
For your business over the next year, how do you plan? So viewers and listeners out there, when they're listening to a business owner, entrepreneur, how do you plan? How do you vision your business, and what's that look like?
I just stay up all night tapping away at my laptop and see what comes out.
My guess is not.
No, we've got a pretty robust strategy for the next 12 months. Our values as a business are courage, collaboration, and creativity.
Nice.
And if everything we do, we can just instill those into our projects, then we can fulfill our mission, which is to build a handful of outlier brands in the construction industry that raise the bar for the whole industry, forcing everything to have to lift up. Construction isn't just competing with other industry peers. You're competing for talent with Gymshark, Nike, Google, Amazon, Starbucks. You're competing with the whole other industrial hemisphere of companies out there. So our mission is to raise the entire standard of the industry by creating a handful of outlier brands that work with us to do so and kind of lead the pack. That's the mission for the next year. We're also just building a fantastic studio space up in the city of London. So I think we're the only broadcast media studio in there as well. So looking at that side of the business and some other little exciting things going on. But my heart is truly in construction brand. What can we do?
Constantly have the conversation with clients, entrepreneurs and business owners about quantity versus quality. So you've got what you do, and fascinating hearing your story and your vision. Amazing. But in terms of growing the business, is that going to be focused on the quality of delivery, or there has to be some kind of volume to bring in the money to invest to pay for this stuff? Because it's not easy, is it? That almost dynamic. You know, we want to get some decent clients and we need them to pay decent money, because otherwise we can't do some of this visionary stuff. Does that keep you awake at night?
Yeah, it does. Sometimes it does. I didn't show me an entrepreneur, a business owner that doesn't stay awake at night thinking about cash flow, and I'll show you a goddamn liar. For me, it's about investing in people. I'm sat here representing the brand, talking on a podcast, and I founded the business, but I by no means am the most important person in my business. And I'm not saying that to be like some humble guy. Like, it's the truth. My business is about the creative people who work in that. And for me, in order to grow, it's about reinvesting every penny we make into the best talent in London to help them build the strong employer brands. And people are buying it. I say it to people in the interview. I said, great, you just made a rap music video look really cool. And, you know, anyone can do that. Do it for these guys. People, they love the challenge. It's fantastic. So to answer your question, yes, it's tough, but we're on the right track, and we're investing in our team who are looking after the clients, who are delivering for them, who are helping us to grow. And for me, that's like the cyclical nature of it. You're never going to go wrong investing in your team. I think it's like flawless.
Clearly, you've got vision and you've got ambition, but you've also got passion. How do you maintain the level of intensity and passion within your business and what you do? How do you do that? What happens when you go home at night?
It's about staying mindful of the bigger picture the whole time. And while business is important, we're all human beings. We're all spiritual, emotional creatures who need to holistically look after ourselves the entire time. And I think investing in yourself outside of work sets a bar that gives you the ability to be able to be creative and be forthright. I really am anti the whole hustle porn, struggling entrepreneur, 20-hour a day, kind of sacrificing everything, put your life on the line for it. It's just not how I operate. It's just not how I think is working the best. I cannot function without 20 minutes meditation and 2 hours jiu-jitsu and a good solid hour walking the dog. 2 hours walking the dog if the RSPCA are listening. Every single day, you know, putting the right things in my body, making sure I'm feeling connected to the people around me. You know, we're social creatures. I need to make sure that I'm connected with my family, my friends, my loved ones, and that I'm feeling their energy, and that I can bring that forward into creativity and deliver for my clients. It sounds crazy to speak about in a business podcast, but for me, it's one of the most important things.
So that's the foundation.
It's the foundation. It's the foundation.
So on a business podcast, which is absolutely fundamental to you and your business, that comes first.
Yeah. Businesses are built by people. People are built by the people around them. For me, it's all about staying connected, staying part of life, staying in the groove, looking after myself, looking after the body, and
And many times people come in here and we have a conversation and we talk about mentors and mentoring. Yeah. Have you been involved in any programs like that? Are you willing to offer? Because I can see that some of the visionary stuff you talk about, I think you'd be an amazing mentor.
Yeah, definitely. Mentors have been they've been like the cornerstone for me. They have been like one of those pillars that have enabled me to do what I do. I have some fantastic people. I'm not going to start shouting them out now because I'll forget one and I'll be kicking myself in the two home that I've forgotten, because business success is like, we can only keep what we have by giving it away, right? We can only keep our success by endeavoring that and like gifting that to other young people or other older people, whatever it be. And I'm so fortunate to have surrounded myself with like some very successful entrepreneurs and business owners, but I just listen to them and just like a sponge. I can phone them if I'm having a hard time. Loneliness is talking about mental health. Loneliness is like the killer. Loneliness is the biggest problem, and you can become very lonely running a business by yourself. So to surround yourself with other like-minded people who can tell you when you're being ridiculous, tell you when you're being genius, tell you when you're being all these things, and kind of absorb it is important. And I work with some young people at the minute, helping them with not just business but life stuff as well, because for me it's all part of the same thing. You know, I try to run SuperBeam through the ideals of like compassion, honesty, and like vulnerability and transparency. I think we have to move away from this suffering male macho entrepreneur mindset. It's like there were some really tough days, and only by me admitting that there are really tough days and being vulnerable, then I can get like the truth will set you free, and I can be honest with people, and people can share back with me, and I can just feel better. Because it's so easy today to go onto your phone, and I know we talk about social media, to compare yourself against this, that, and the other, and it's vacuous. But mentors and having other men that I can be vulnerable around, and they can share back with me, and we can be honest about where we are in our business, because it can be really difficult sometimes. But if you go online, you only ever see people flying their jet skis off the back of the yacht, and no one's there yet. So massively important.
How do people get in touch with you?
So you can find us on superbeam.agency, or just go onto Instagram, LinkedIn, and just search for SuperBeam. You'll be able to find me. If you're a good internet CID, you'll be able to find me, no problem. Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody like you.
Good.
Is there anything that you feel that we've missed that you want to cover, you want to mention, anything at all, even a plug, anything?
Just check us out. Check us out at SuperBeam, superbeam.agency. You know, we will have some capacity in the next few months to take on some more clients. We're kind of jam-packed at the minute, but I'm always happy to speak to young creative talent as well. If people out there think that they can make a difference and really add value to a whole new industry through mind-blowing creativity, then I'm always happy to speak to talent as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a journey. I told you it would be good.
Yeah.
Thanks, listeners and viewers out there. Another amazing podcast. Until next time.